Imagine being able to hail a cab, play a game of tag, spot a speed trap on the road, map the stars, and track down a stolen vehicle all from one device. With today's available GPS technologies and field force technologies, indeed, this is possible. The array of possibilities for uses of GPS technologies and field force technologies is actually quite surprising. However, some of the most sought out after advances have been related to fleet and asset management. This advancement and adoption of the GPS and field force technologies for fleet and asset management tracking has many benefits for businesses, but also faces a few challenges. The benefits include monitoring, which specifically deal with vehicle, employee, and inventory related monitoring, as well as real-time environments. And the challenges are costs, privacy, implementation, and return on investment. The benefits of GPS technologies in fleet and asset management have many elements in them, which address a number of activities and/or tasks within the supply chain operations reference or SCORE model. Really, GPS technologies can benefit any one of the 5 core processes. However, for this particular presentation, I will only be concentrating on a select few processes. The first benefit and the most obvious is monitoring, and more specifically, vehicle monitoring. The original intent of developing GPS systems was to be able to accurately pinpoint a specific location anywhere in the world within real time. In the last 10 years or so, this technology has made significant advances with vehicle tracking and location. The ability to track and monitor vehicles in an efficient manner has become essential for businesses now, especially those with fleet vehicles, such as electrical companies, trucking companies, and even small repairman businesses. Businesses today use vehicle monitoring to determine things like route planning. For example, a new job comes in and a fleet member needs to respond. A GPS communicator can tell the home office who the closest responder is, and the dispatch can communicate the information out to the fleet. Other vehicle monitoring aspects include things like speeds, vehicle maintenance, and cargo state. One funny story in one of the articles we read called Fleet Management from the Sky by Ellen Parson talked about how a fleet van was stolen, and all the driver simply had to do was call the dispatch, and the carjacker was quickly met by the police and the supervisor of the business, which had to be quite embarrassing, I'm sure. So how does the route planning and vehicle monitoring address the SCORE model? We found it relates more specifically to SCORE process P4.3, balance delivery resource and capabilities with delivery requirements, which uses transportation cost and delivery resource analysis and costs as metrics. The best practices associated with this process of utilizing a distribution planning system, or in many of these cases a GPS route planning system, allows businesses to optimally plan the most work they can get done using the least amount of resources. Many of the GPS and field force technologies available today give businesses the ability to do just that. The additional SCORE process I would like to mention is S1.4, transfer product. Transfer product contains a number of metrics, but specifically I want to point out the energy costs, cost to transfer product, and quantity per shipment metrics. Being able to monitor vehicles and maximize efficient route planning addresses these metrics by allowing companies to reduce fuel costs and maintain better quality vehicles for a longer period of time. So the second type of monitoring businesses find extremely beneficial is employee monitoring. We just spoke about vehicle monitoring, now we're going into employee monitoring. The GPS devices not only track the vehicles, but many track vehicles and/or the employees. A feature called a geofence can usually be set up in a fleet management software. This fence is a range in which the fleet vehicles are allowed to travel. If a fleet vehicle goes outside of the fence, usually an alert of some sort is sent to the main hub. Companies also like the fact that they can keep an eye on drivers to ensure they are not forging their billable hours. Most systems have a way of a technician essentially punching in on a job and punching out. And as mentioned in an article called GPS Phones Keep Drivers on Track by Brian Chavo, other driver deviations that can be tracked are unplanned stops, early arrivals, late departures, service time violations, running routes out of sequence, and even violations of Department of Transportation hours of service rules. Being able to manage employees and their habits, I believe, addresses SCORE process ES9, Manage Supply Chain Source Risk, the most. Basically, this section is an overall about addressing a supply chain risk program. The ability to monitor driver safety habits as well as customer service and delivery cycle time habits helps to alert and mitigate potential risks to the businesses. Risks such as running routes out of sequence, overbilling hours, taking vehicles on extended unnecessary trips are all events in which a dollar amount can be placed in and is money that a company is losing. Being able to identify these risks and have the tools and plan to mitigate them addresses this particular SCORE process. The third type of monitoring that takes place involves inventory management and/or monitoring. Many times with field sales and representatives are out on customer visits, there is a need to know what the available inventory is, what parts the company may carry, and what products can be ordered based upon a request. And for more service-related fields, technicians are able to access customer information, determine where the nearest repair parts are located, and provide information to ensure inventory is updated as products and parts are used or needed. Inventory monitoring is effective at addressing the combination of SCORE processes of D4.3, pick product from back room, in which the metrics include pick product from back room cycle time and cost to pick product from back room, and the process of D4.4, stock shelf, which includes metrics of stock shelf cycle time, in-stock percentage, and cost to stock shelf. Inventory monitoring devices address the best practices which should be used to meet these metrics by providing handheld devices that can directly access the product availability and nearest location. Once the item is picked based upon a customer request, the inventory management system can make note to replenish the items. And this automation can allow businesses to generate reporting information on cycle times and costs. Monitoring is the first and seemingly the most relevant and important benefit to GPS and fleet management. The second main benefit related to the GPS and field force technologies is real-time environments. In this world of instant gratification, isn't it obvious that real-time data is a necessity? However, a real-time environment is an essential aspect to fleet management, as businesses not only need to communicate to their fleet, but sometimes need to communicate to an entire supply chain. Having the ability to communicate information as soon as possible can save multiple parties from excess work and helps the bottom line. One benefit to operating within a real-time environment is the ability for a company to know where its people are and when. Being able to determine who can respond to a last-minute request, return request, or product transport request the quickest and the most efficient will help the business serve their customers a little bit better, save on vehicle costs and maintenance, and properly manage billing components. Another real-time benefit comes into play when a violation occurs. Most systems have the ability to be configured with various parameters. If a violation of one of those parameters occurs, a notification to a dispatch or a manager or someone in charge can be alerted instantly to address the situation. Some systems have the ability for SMS messaging. Because many of the systems are also web-based, they have the ability to integrate with an ERP or CRM system. This allows for instant communication up and down the supply chain to be possible. Many times, a software vendor will also host the site for the businesses, which cuts down on overhead costs. As related to the SCORE model, the benefits mentioned above also address the various SCORE processes that the monitoring benefits address. Specifically, D4.3 and D4.4, which deal with the inventory management. Being able to update information, view customer profiles, request stock, and replenish stock all in real time address the metrics associated with those particular SCORE processes. And the risk management abilities again address SCORE process ES9, which we talked about back in the monitoring section. So various aspects of monitoring in real-time environments hold many benefits to the world of fleet and asset management. Now I'm going to turn it over to Harry to go over the challenges.
Although GPS and mobile communications are becoming less and less of a state-of-the-art technology and something that is becoming mainstream and integrated into consumer products and relatively inexpensive ones, creating an environment that can effectively use GPS and mobile communication in logistics and supply chain management to drive its business to another level does not come without cost, and it isn't necessarily easy or seamless to implement. If you currently don't have GPS functionality or mobile access to data involved in your current network or other current technologies, it can be quite costly to install. Many warehouses and manufacturers are still using archaic software with green and black screens to check inventory levels. To make these systems accessible through a remote connection, using a browser on a mobile device might require a company to do more than just buy new cell phones for its employees. Installation costs can be very high and prohibitive depending on the technology level of an organization looking to utilize these technologies. Even once installed, it creates a whole new environment of infrastructure for IT to have to upkeep and keep running smoothly. Overhead is another challenge, as costs are a huge driving factor for all businesses. Once initial costs are put into the network and applications, it will also create more ongoing costs to keep it functioning properly. Now an organization must find cost-effective ways of providing wireless communication for its employees and possibly the addition of web hosting in the case of browser-based applications. Licensing and monthly costs may also apply if an organization wants to go with software as a service as a route, which is quickly becoming a growing trend. Implementation is a huge challenge for many organizations trying to bring this technology in. Company-wide training is critical for successful implementation. Everyone involved needs to know how the technology functions and how data collection of specific metrics can be used to improve efficiency and give better vision and ultimately make the company more profitable. Current technology environments can play a big role in how easy this is to implement this technology into your environment and how well those systems interoperate with each other. Organizations that already have ERP systems involved and allow employees to access private infrastructure and back data through a remote connection or browsers will not have as many implementation issues. A company having issues accessing internal information outside of the physical workplace will have many more headaches interacting with this technology. Security has always been an important issue. Once again, a company already utilizing secure remote and browser connectivity will have less to worry about. Without proper security in place, a company could make itself much more susceptible to unwanted electronic intrusion. If security is ever breached, data and GPS information about valuable objects could work against you. Even aggregate data used for tracking could host all sorts of issues to the company or individuals who have had their whereabouts tracked. In conclusion, the ability for companies to monitor fleet and various assets in a real-time environment holds many benefits for them to allow businesses to address key activities, tasks associated with supply chain management. According to the information provided, it is safe to say that because GPS and field force technologies efficiently and effectively address SCORE-related processes, the challenges of cost and employee privacy are minor at best. Here's a timeline that we've created to show the history of GPS technology. We hope you've enjoyed our presentation on GPS and field force technology created by Sarah Olhoff and Harry Pereira. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of the class.